Hello, my name is Stephanie. I'm the Mental Health and Wellbeing Officer for LSST.
Hello everyone, my name is Francesca. I'm the Engagement Officer in LSST.
And today we have James here, and he's going to tell us his inspiring story and hopefully motivate many of our students. James, if you would like to tell us your story, we'd love to hear it.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I guess my story started when I was kind of 15. I ended up being kicked out of school. I grew up with ADHD. I got a late diagnosis, and school just didn't really know how to deal with me and deal with kind of my behaviour, and ended up kicking me out. I guess I ended up surrounding myself with the wrong kind of crowd, and I ended up being drugged, and I was kidnapped and sexually abused on multiple occasions, and just sent my life kind of spiraling out of control. I kind of got heavily into substance abuse, and I was just running away from my issues, really. I guess running away from the pain and just trying to find any other way I could to mask it, really. I just didn't want to remember what had happened, and so I spent quite a lot of years just using drugs and kind of committing crime to feed my habits and feed my lifestyle, and I was pretty broken. You know, I was just like a shell of a man. I'd lost my manhood, my confidence, my self-esteem, my dignity. Everything had just gone out the window, you know. And I ended up getting locked up, got arrested and sent to jail when I was 19. And yeah, when I was away, I was diagnosed with PTSD and depression. I was put on quite a lot of medication, antipsychotics, antidepressants, anti-anxiety medication, and again, yeah, I was just in a place where all these memories were starting to come back to me, and I say it was like waking up from kind of like a 5-year-long nightmare, only to realise that it was real. It was real life. It was reality, and it was hell. You know, it was really, really tough. And I was going cold turkey off drugs, and yeah, it was a bad, pretty dark time in my life. Came out of jail and wanted to try and kind of change, so I kind of moved away from where I grew up and to get a fresh start, and ended up falling back into using drink and drugs again. I just couldn't shake it, right? It was just like the grip of addictions was just too strong, and I couldn't get away from the trauma, you know, and how it kind of manifested itself inside of me. And I was just a slave to fear. I was running, and I was scared, and I was just using short-term fixes, you know, and I'm kind of just searching for that long-term solution, but instead I'm finding short-term fixes. And so, yeah, life's not looking great. I'm sleeping 18 hours a day, every single day. I'm extremely depressed, clinically depressed, and you know, I'm in a room in my house, and I'm just spending weeks and weeks and weeks in bed. I'm not leaving the bedroom. I'm not eating. I'm not speaking to anyone. I'm barely drinking, and that's where I found myself in 2017. I'm overdosing on my prescribed medication because I don't want to be awake, you know. So I just want to sleep. I'm using drink. I'm using drugs, and like I say, I'm just battling with kind of like demons, and all of this kind of trauma and negativity from the past is just kind of manifesting itself inside of me, and I'm full of hate and anger and bitterness, and yeah, like I can talk about like how I kind of got through that in more detail when we've got more time, but I ended up coming through that dark patch. You know, thanks be to God and my support network, and obviously found myself at LSST. So, I started doing some public speaking, sharing my story, and I said to one of the groups I spoke to, I said, I'm going to go to uni and I'm going to get a degree, and I'm just going to prove to people that it's possible. This level of kind of change is attainable and sustainable, and so obviously here we are now. I've got about 4 months left of the degree, and yeah, I'm just so like happy and feel very like privileged to be at LSST and to have been given the opportunity to kind of get an education and I'm just grateful that they've taken a chance on me, you know.
It's great to hear.
Yeah, it's an amazing story. Thank you for sharing
That's
it with
okay.
us.
I have a question I usually like to ask to people.
Right.
So where do you see yourself in 5 years from now? Like what does future hold for you?
I feel like I'll be continuing sharing my story. I've been seeing a lot of like positive change, and I've been seeing the impact that it's had on people's life, and obviously for me that's like the biggest blessing in the world, and so I feel I will continue doing that for as long as it's doing something positive. I'll keep doing that, and yeah, so I've got a few different projects, but I think mainly my main goal is to kind of use that pain for purpose and just to be using that darkness from yesterday to make other people's tomorrow brighter. And if I'm doing that, then you know I'm a happy man and I'm living a fulfilled and satisfied life.
It's amazing. Okay, and just to end the chat we're having with you, mental health is something that we always speak about, and we're trying to really enable our students to be able to have that conversation around mental health. So just to end, I'd like to ask you, what advice would you give a student at LSST who is experiencing some type of mental health difficulty?
Yeah, I think first things, just go and talk to someone. I think that's what I've learned, like the hardest thing to do, right, when you're suffering with mental health, feeling a bit depressed, anxious, whatever it is going and talking to someone, yeah, but that's the most important thing you can do, you know. And I think once you kind of get it off your chest and you just open it up about it, you'll be surprised at actually the reactions that you get, and actually once you start talking about it, you can kind of actually look for a way to kind of work through it. So that's the first thing, and then secondly, I'd just say, you know, you're not alone. You know, I think that's the most important message that I can give and we can tell people, is that, you know, at least 1 in 4 people are suffering with their mental health in the UK right now, at least. And every single one of us has been impacted in some way by mental health. And so I'd say, look, no one's immune to it, you know, and we've all got a mental health, whether it be good or whether it be bad. It's all mental health, you know, whether we're grieving, that's mental health, or if we're elated and we're happy because our football team has just won, that's mental health, that's good mental health. And so I'd say it's nothing to be embarrassed about. Our mental health oscillates on a daily basis, all of us, and so yeah, just there's nothing to be embarrassed about, ashamed about. You just go and speak to someone, you can get the help that you need.
Perfect. Thank you so much, James.
Thank you, James,
for speaking to us.
Yeah,
and
been a
James
pleasure.
will be our guest speaker really soon, so look forward to that. And yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for having me.